Hello internet, hello future me. Welcome I guess to this channel. How are you doing I guess? The date is 25th of October, Wednesday, 2023. It is 8:51 p.m. I just got back home from the gym, leg day, and then before that I was doing an internship on some biomedical research counselor stuff, which sounds cool, but it's not really interesting because I'm just cutting the microtome. I did the microtome and the vibratome, was it? A bit for the whole day. So anyways, this video is an introductory video to explain what this is. I mean, I guess my future me would know, but just in case, introduction. So this is supposed to be like a journal, a video journal, I guess, that I'm gonna put it on the internet because how fitting is it to, share everything, personal stuff to everyone when no one's asking for it. I think that's what defines our generation. And I don't know, something to look back on, and maybe if people find this, they could relate to it or argue, because I'm gonna start talking about rambling some ideas and my philosophies and analysis of film, or maybe just talk about bio stuff or whatever. I'm gonna ramble. It's gonna be a nice place where I'm probably never gonna cite anything. I'm just gonna spit out all these ideas and say things like they're facts when you'll never know if it really is. Yeah, that's about it. I was thinking of talking about the films I watched recently. They were by Sono Shion, which is kind of a popular director in Japan, but he has some scandals recently. So, but I really enjoyed this horror film called Z殺サークル, which seemed more like an existential social commentary. And then the sequel to that called紀子の食卓, which kind of clarified a bit of what the first movie was about, but kind of doesn't. But yeah, I'm gonna spoil everything, maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna even talk about it. I don't know what I'm talking, but this is how the structure of these kind of videos are gonna go on this channel. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. I hope I'm not loud enough so that my flatmates don't hear me, because it's kind of embarrassing to do this. But anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna talk more about the sequel, because that, I think, was trying to convey more explicitly, although it's not really explicitly, of like the theme of both two movies. And one of the things they keep talking about is, are you related to yourself? あなたはあなたの関係者ですか? Which I think a very direct understanding is, do you live for yourself? And maybe coming from an individualist society, maybe that's not that big of a deal, but especially in Japan, it's a very collectivist, and oftentimes I think people are working and living for something bigger than them, but it's not necessarily the greater good. It's just they just work because that's just how the thing is, how the things go. And I think we lose sight of what we are, what we're supposed to be. Yeah, I think that's a very superficial, but I think at the same time kind of also one of the ideas that I think Sono was trying to explain. But yeah, what I think also Sono was trying to convey is the relation to his film, both of his film, but especially the second one, to like Postman's Metaphor and Baudrillard's like Simulation, Simulacrum. Because the second movie is all about changing your identity, but more like faking your identity and faking a family. Like there's this whole rental family thing. And then there's this whole another layer of faking where Noriko fakes to be Noriko again, to be in like this simulated version of her own family. And I think in that sense you can see a distinction between you and you in terms of like, are you related to yourself, as in you as a referent, and what was the other word in semiotics, referent versus or signifier, that no symbol and referent, maybe that's better. Well, because simulation or simulacra is about a simulation based on a referent that loses its connection to the referent, from my understanding. And I think the relationship here that Sono was trying to say is in terms of like meaning itself, we lose the relationship between our original referent of our identity to what you depict and show. And then I think it's shaped around like expectation of how you are in certain roles, like especially in family, as in the movie, but in society as a whole. And that expectation causes you to behave in a way that might be different from the original you, but because you behave in that way, that kind of becomes you. So that simulation creates the referent, or overwrites the referent, I think. And that's, and then I think it's trying to talk about like the agency that we have to keep or maintain by going against the expectation we are given by society. But there is this ironic twist, because this cult that keeps saying that's supposed to be the suicide circle or something talks about how we all have a role, but then that means we lose the agency, and it's like society giving us a role, but they're the ones that facilitate the rental family and talk about, they're the ones that keep asking like, are you related to yourself? And or maybe maybe the cult doesn't want you to relate to yourself. Because, like, in the first movie, the girl at the end, she says she's related to herself. And then she goes to the initiation to commit suicide. So, but, I mean, she does in the film. It's so ambiguous, too. So maybe you're not supposed to be searching for the original referent. Or I think maybe the bigger picture is that it's all convoluted and there is no referent. Or there is a referent, but it's a paradox. And it's like an overlay of truth and fiction that is also true. And that life is complicated and reality is absurd. But it's not like the positive absurdism that Camus would, naively be happy about. But yeah, I don't know. But I think it's something related to that. And I mean, also because this whole idea of like changing names and creating names, and there's the computer where it's like a different simulation of social relationship, but everyone has their own name. But for some reason, that simulated reality within the website of the haikyo.com was more real to Noriko at the time. And the weird thing is the simulated family, the rental family, seems to feel more real to Noriko as well compared to her original family. And that's weird because it's like forced reality. But then I know for a fact that that movie conveys the idea that you can't force. It's at the very start, like a very clear metaphor. I think it even relates to Clockwork Orange, although there's a lot of a motif of Tangerine. And then there's this scene where the dad folds the tangerine neatly and puts it in the tangerine peel neatly and puts it in the, what do you call it, the smoke tray. And then Noriko narrates how it was neatly folded, but it naturally, opens up again. And I think that's a clear metaphor, especially with the idea that the dad wanted to live in this like perfect, peaceful town and a family where he would only take pictures for the news of like the most like trivial, peaceful events in the town, and he would treat his family like this perfect thing and always taking pictures. And the painting that show that the kids are smiling, but the reality is the kids are not even smiling. And the idea that you can't really force something. That also relates to like this expectation, and that expectation is supposed to shape to a certain extent, but in this case expectation doesn't. But I guess that expectation shapes how the dad behaves, and that's the ultimate undoing of that family in a sense. But at the same time, I feel like that happiness was actually achieved, because at the very end, Noriko's sister, Yuka, wears the jacket of her sister, and before that, even though it's supposed to be like a rental, like a simulation of a family, she talks about how happy she really was. And then at the very end, she says she finally understands her older sister, and then leaves. So I feel like there's that idea of like someone's so happy that they have to leave to find themselves, which maybe it's like when something is too good, it's not real, like a true referent, although there is no true referent, we're in a simulation, but if there is a true referent, maybe it can never be good. And that's why Noriko left, and that's why Yuka leaves at the end. I don't know, but yeah, my thoughts. Maybe I'll sit with this film for a while. Maybe I'll come up with something else. Yeah, I know the director gets a bad rap, and yeah, I wouldn't like him as a person, but you gotta separate the art from the artist. And those two films, I think I really enjoyed it. There's something that sparked, and I thought that was something I could talk about today. Yeah, that's it. I didn't even think about how I would end this. I guess bye. I'll see you when I see you.